All right. I'm going to go over proportions with you, and I'm kind of winging this one so my examples might not work out perfectly. But a proportion shows how two things are related to each other. So we always have a fraction bar, an equal sign in the middle, and then another fraction bar. And anything that is in the same column has to be related, and anything that is in the same row has to be related. So for example, if we had two similar triangles and we were given 3 side lengths and we had to solve for x, then we can use a proportion to figure out what it is because we know that they're similar. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take two numbers that are related in some way. For example, I could choose the 2 and the 3. They're both a part of the small triangle. So if I put them into a fraction together, that makes sense. I'm going to label up here small triangle, so I know that that's how those two numbers are related. What do you think is going to come over here? Well, obviously the parts that are a part of the big triangle. Now I'm going to look at my row. My row has to be connected in some way too. So I'm looking at this 2 and I'm looking at this 8. Those numbers are related to each other because they are the same side of their triangles. So I'm going to put the 8 either in line with the 2 or the 3. Well, which one does it have something in common with? It has something in common with the 2, so that's where it's going to go. And my x has something in common with my 3. Now my proportion is all set up, and the way to solve a proportion is very, very easy. You cross multiply 3 times 8, and then you divide by 2. And the reason for that is if I were to write it as an equation, it would be that 3 times 8 would equal 2 times x. And then you would simplify from there. So you would do 8 times 3, which is 24, equals 2x. So first I multiplied, and then I would be dividing by 2. So 24 divided by 2 is 12. So notice I multiplied 8 and 3, and then I divided by 2, which is, I can skip this part if I just memorize that I'm going to multiply the two numbers that are across from each other that don't have x, and then divide by the number that's across from x. Other ways that you can use proportions is to solve for, if there's a shadow, and they use the things where they tell you a person is 6 feet tall. Well, here, let's just do one. So if I were to say a person is 6 feet tall and he has a shadow that is 8 feet long. So I would say a man is 6 feet tall and his shadow is 8 feet long. So this is how tall, and this is the shadow. Together, this is part of the same man. Then I say that there is a tree that has a shadow that is 30 feet long, and we want to know how tall the tree is. So what do I know? The shadow, or the height. I know the shadow, so I'm going to put the 30 down there, and what I want to solve for is that. So then from here, I would do 6 times 30 divided by 8, and that would tell me how tall the tree is. We also use proportions sometimes when we're talking about finding percents or the part or the whole, and for that we use a proportion, but we set it up as is over of equals percent over 100. We're setting up the percent over 100 because when we learned about decimals and going back and forth, we realized that any number over 100 is equivalent to the percent. The is represents the part, or the smaller part, and then the of is the whole. So for example, if there was a problem that said, what is 30% of 120? So I'm going to fill in what I know. What is, I don't know what that is, I'm going to replace is with an x, 30% of 120. I look for my x, I multiply and divide. 120 times 30 divided by 100 would tell me what that is. So this is great because you can use it to go any way. You can use it to find the percent, you can use it to find the part, or you can use it to find the whole. I know that we did a lot of practice with this, so hopefully you feel pretty comfortable now for your review.